subject to status. In the physical world, in the worldly world, subject to status means you can't join our club unless you earn X amount of money. You cannot become part of our building society unless you are on a certain level, you know. That's where the brothers, you know,
and
I'm on a certain level, I can join in his club on the building society. In Allah God's will, subject to status, we were saying, means that you are dissatisfied with this world. And once you become dissatisfied with this world, then you can start to look into self, you know, self-improvement, the basis of community development. Once we become dissatisfied with this world, then we start to search for other than this world. That's what the subject of status was. So, one world deals with the bricks and the mortar. The other world deals with the family, community and nation that dwells inside the bricks and the mortar. Yeah? So you have this duality. You have this focus of, or balance or imbalance.
But aren't really in reality, because remember, all Satan does is what he does is he takes evil and he makes it fair seeming, and what he does is he comes in the straight path and tells us something. So he manipulates the truth. He doesn't necessarily go for an outright lie all the time. He manipulates the truth. So isn't the bricks and mortar the family anyway? Isn't that the foundation that's actually being built?
The bricks and the mortar on a spiritual level, yes. Because the individual represents a part of the building brick. That, you know, those bricks have to be made. And whatever those bricks are made out of determines the strength of the building.
That's right.
So, yeah, in a spiritual sense, if you're talking in a metaphorical sense, the bricks is the family, but they're not looking at the bricks as the family.
That's right.
And that's why I said there's this split. The adobe and the abode. That word, the adobe and the abode, it's spelt the same, but the B and the D are transposed. The abode, sorry, the abode is the home. I got a little definition down here. Let me read out the definition. The abode is a place of residence, a house or a home, you know, her current abode, my humble abode, yeah? A residence, or it can mean a sojourn as well. Abode, yeah? And that's from the Middle English, it says here.
Okay.
A verbal noun from abide.
Right, like abide in the truth, live in the truth, dwell in the truth, sure.
And adobe, or adobe, as I like to call it, is a kind of clay used in building materials, typically in the form of sun-dried bricks. Yeah, that's adobe or adobe, a type of brick, a building constructed from such materials, and that's originated from the 18th century, the middle 18th century, from the Spanish of adobar, meaning to plaster, and that came from the Arabic al-tab, which means the bricks.
Okay.
The bricks. That sounds like a surah of the Holy Qur'an, doesn't it? The bricks.
And that's
so there is this, the two really work together, the adobe and the abode. Here's a question. What percentage of our focus do we place on one in relation to the other? Is it 50-50? Is it 50 adobe, 50 abode? Is it 60-40? 60 adobe, 40 abode, or the other way around? What is the relationship that we apply to, or the focus that we give towards these things, to family, community and nation, to house, structures, nice bathroom with diamond taps? How does it pan out?
That's really subject to status, isn't it? It depends on to be flash. Yeah. It depends on who I am and what my morals are. But the chances are, within this society, we're actually being taught to go like 95%. I'd say it's really extreme with 90%.
That much?
Yeah, because when you look at it, the amount of effort, or let's look at it in relation to time. If I'm working like 45 hours a week and I do overtime, and that may be a lot more, if I weigh up the amount of time that I spend with my family or my children, it's a minuscule fraction in comparison to what I'm doing. If we look at the amount of time that our children spend in school, if they're spending like 6 hours a day, that's at school. But if they go to breakfast club, that's 7, 8 hours. If they go to after school out club, that's 10 hours. So if I'm spending like, if they're spending that 10 hours a day in school and I'm doing that 10 hours at work with the time travelling in between, that means I have 2 hours with my children each day. So if I'm spending like 2 hours with my children each day, that's tantamount to, or that's the equivalent to, a father or the stereotypical father seeing his child on a Saturday.
Whoa.
That's 1 day a week.
Wow.
So we're doing very much the same.
And that's just with the children.
And that's just with the children.
That's not husband.
No, that's not husband. That's not no time investing in family. So again, it's about looking at the actual amount of time that we're spending with each thing. And if we look at the amount of time that we spend with each thing, then we'll see the actual, and that's an individual thing, brothers and sisters. When we examine the amount of time that we spend within each compartment of our lives, home, family, relationships, you know, marriage, then we'll be able to have a good look at where we are. I was reading a book, it's called Freakonomics. It's a very good book. It's about mathematics, but looking at it from a very practical perspective. And the man in there was saying that we've been lied to and we've been conned so much in this society that we spend 3/4 of our time at work trying to have a nice house with pretty cushions on their points and everything, and we never spend any time there.
Wow.
So it's really...
That's deep.
It is.
That's pretty deep.
It is. I'll leave it there.
Brothers and sisters, the building society of this world,
Yeah.
the focus of that building society, well, here in the UK anyway, we reckon it's at least 95% on the building, the physical, the gold taps and stuff, which leaves 5% then for family, community and nation.
Yeah, I mean, we can even look at it like on a...
5%ers.
Yeah, we can look at it on a really personal level. How much time do we spend each morning preparing our minds and our bodies and thanking God for being given the opportunity to get up and go out in the morning, in comparison to how much time we spend on our hair, how much time we spend organising our clothes, how much time we spend having our breakfast, all of those other physical things, in comparison to the spiritual and the mental, it's a minuscule fraction in comparison.
It is. A lot of the time that we spend on the things that we do isn't even their definition of building society. It's just frivolity or foolishness a lot of the time.
Okay, explain yourself.
Yeah, because we're not spending time on building our society, are we? Or building their society a lot of the time. A lot of the time is just waste time. Some of it is spent, I mean, if we're going on to the plantation, that's building their society. But sometimes we ain't even doing that. And we still don't spend time where we should be spending.